はい、皆さん、こんにちは。カメールと申します。それでは引き続きシャーロックホームズやっていきたいと思います。では、前回の続きで、まずは家主の女性に、話をして警察呼んでもらいましょうか。
What's wrong, dear? You look like you've seen a ghost.
僕の部屋に最近誰か入ったか。
Can you tell me if anyone else has recently entered the flat?
Oh, you're talking about that limping man. I'm sorry I let him in. I was scared. And I thought maybe he would motivate you to find money so that you would pay your rent. No offense, dear.
Can you describe him?
Oh, so you weren't at home. I was so certain you didn't leave your flat that day. He was of average height, had a limp and a
首に
tattoo
入
on
れ
his
墨。
neck, and he
新
was
しい情報です
smoking
ね。
Malpal cigarettes. My husband used to smoke those. They have a
や
horrible
はりこ
smell
の
I can
男が
recognize from a mile away.
画廊での犯人ですね。
Can I ask a favor?
Of course, dearie.
Please call the police and ask them to enter the flat. And don't look inside until they come up.
What? What trouble have you stepped in this time?
It really doesn't matter. Thank you, Mum.
はい。ということで、お上には真実を伝えず、
Sherry, that was close. But you did every...
警察を呼んでもらうことにしました。さて、では、引き続きジョンが書き直したこの少女の写真を元に、この人物の身元を追っていきましょう。それに伴って、服装も少し変えてますが、
Can I ask you a question?
Sorry, I have no time for your problems.
これでわかることがあるでしょうか。
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, I know about that.
お、知ってましたね、
Let me
この
tell
少年
you.
が。スカラディオとシルバートンの間のビクトリアブリッジの下にある難民野営地に、いるんじゃないかということですね。はい。じゃあ、そこへ行ってみましょう。
Beasts!
何かあったようですね。この服装では入るのが難しいかもしれないので、ちょっといつもの服装に変えましょう。
Murderers!
They're completely livid.
First they come to our land, then they murder our people.
Sir, this place is off limits to the public. Please state your business or leave, or I shall request that the police escort you out.
My name is Sherlock Holmes. I'm a private investigator. I'm looking for a witness for a case.
A private investigator? Really? Even so, you're not authorized. I can't let you in.
And you are?
I'm Ronald Harlow, here to handle the refugee situation on behalf of City Hall. I'm the acting supervisor here, so I have full authority here to ask you to leave, or I shall order the police to detain you for trying to pass the blockade. Please, step back.
ということで、簡単には入れそうにありませんが、観察をしてこの人の情報が得られそうですね。役人らしく見せようとしている。精神的な重圧。こんだけやじられていたらそうもなるでしょうね。普段は座っている。デスクワークなんですね、普段はおそらく。年齢を上に見せようとしている。若い事務官というのが合ってるでしょう。
The people in the crowd are shouting about a murder in the camp. Are you trying to hide it?
It's mere assumption. I assure you that the situation is under the police's control.
If it was under control, if there was no dead body, you wouldn't be as nervous as you are. you would be sitting in your cozy dark corner of a city hall room doing nothing as usual. Yet, you're here, trying to deal with a series of problems you never asked for.
These insults are inappropriate. You don't know what I'm doing for this camp. Even though the rest of City Hall doesn't give a bloody squat about the refugees, maybe I didn't want to be assigned to this camp. But I'm trying to do my best for these people. If not for my work, they might not have any shelter or food even.
I apologize, Mr. Harlow. Perhaps I was prejudiced towards you, but in any case, I'm sure that you would still want this to be over as quickly as possible. The current reality is that neither you nor the police are managing things well here. You are unable to calm the crowd. You have simply never handled a situation like this before.
What are you driving at, Mr. Holmes?
手を貸しましょうか。じゃあ、目撃者は見つけないといけないですけど、手を貸しましょう。
I can help you to handle the situation if you're truly interested in solving things quickly and quietly.
And how exactly would you manage that?
Simply tell the police that I'm with City Hall and I'm permitted to investigate the scene. I'll work out the rest, but in return, I need your help finding my witness. She's a young refugee. She's with child or was with child recently.
Look, there is indeed a dead body inside the camp. So even if the girl you are looking for is there, all the refugees are now being detained and interrogated by the police. They won't allow you to speak with her, and I can't do anything about that until the situation settles down.
So it's in our mutual interest to settle it.
Oh. I suppose that things are bad enough that I ought not shy away from help. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell the police to allow you to come inside. Just tell me when you're ready.
I'm
じゃあ
ready to
中
take a
に
look at the
入り
scene.
ましょう
All
か。
right. Go inside the camp and find Inspector Tewkesbury. He's the officer investigating the scene. Tell him I sent you. Say you're an independent expert from City Hall. He'll fill in the details for you.
I'll find my way with words. Thank you, Mr. Harlow.
Murder! Beasts!
はい。じゃあ、
So they keep these refugees under a bridge like proverbial trolls. No wonder the people outside are so disturbed.
事件の詳細を
Who the hell are
聞いて
you?
いきましょう。
How did you get in here?
Mr. Ronald Harlow let me in, sir. I'm Sherlock Holmes, a surveyor of refugee affairs with City Hall. You're Inspector Tewkesbury, I presume?
A surveyor. What does that even mean?
In short, I've been sent to conduct an extensive report on the incident for the Colonial Office and to assess all the damage inflicted on state property.
Got it. Another paperworm sent to count money and get food for archive mold. Go on, look around, but don't make yourself too at home. As if I didn't have enough problems before you appeared.
Could you first tell me what happened here?
What happened? People from the bridge above the camp heard a woman screaming and saw a mass of refugees attacking a man. Clearly not a refugee. When the camp guards came by, the man was floating in the sewage canal with a knife in his chest. Bam. A murder. Big news for Cordona.
I'm sure. Thank you, Inspector.
死んだ男
Did you learn
は
anything
誰
about
で
the
し
dead
ょ
man?
うか。
The fellow looks like a thug. I've had dozens like
例
him
の
fished
首
out of
に
the
入
sea
れ
over
墨
the
が
past
ある
20 years.
あの
Ever
男で
since
は
these refugees
な
arrived,
い
there have
か
been people on Cordona with bad blood in them. My best bet is that this thug had something against them too.
And no clue as to his identity.
He had some items on his body, but nothing to indicate who he was or where he was from.
I think I should catalogue his possessions in my records.
Go on. They're on the table near the body.
他に被害者はいるか。
And none of the refugees were harmed?
One fellow was cut. He's lying over there near their kitchen. He's in a bad way.
You mentioned a woman screaming who attracted the bypassers on the bridge. Was she harmed?
No, she's all right, but perhaps the whole debacle started because of her. She started wailing and the refugees stood up for the girl.
And where is
う
this
ん
young
やは
woman
り
now?
九段の女
Back
性
there in
と
the
男
shacks,
性
same
な
as the
気
rest of
は
the
します
refugees.
ね。
She's been questioned by my men, but she's just some refugee girl. Can't understand much English.
Do you have any suspects yet?
容疑者
You're
は
joking,
いる
right?
でしょうか。
I've got a whole camp full of suspects. And if you ask me, this
まあそ
bloke
れは
had
そう
it
です
coming.
ね。
Better bury him and forget about the whole thing. And now there's a crowd gathered at the camp, and my superiors say we must thoroughly interrogate the refugees. At least those who can understand any English.
Do you believe that your
まあ形
superiors
と
wish
して
to
も
get rid of the
何もなかったことに
refugees?
はでき
I
ない。
think that both our superiors would rather keep the story quiet. Since that's an unaffordable luxury now, they're looking how to protect their public image. That's why I have to waste my time waiting for my people to turn every stone and befriend every refugee.
ということでした。まずじゃあ所有物が机の上
Here
に
we go again. Number of hours on Cordona before stumbling upon another dead body. 0.
机の上にあると言っていたので見せていただきましょうか。ありましたね。タバコ、
Malpal,
マルパ
soaked
ル。
with salt water.
そして
£1,000. A fair sum, especially considering British currency isn't very common in Cordona.
英国貨幣と
A simple leather sheath.
ナイフですか。
Perfect for a dirk.
うんうん。なるほど。他には、ここに調べられるものはないですね。奥にはありますね。これが被害者の男性ですね。
Coal dust under the nails. I don't see much coal around here.
この男性と同じ人かな。
An interesting tattoo. Does it mean something?
あ、首にタトゥーがありますね。そして凶器はこの刃物。
A steel dirk. Sharp. A common accessory among sailors and soldiers. I'd say the blade penetrated upward, however, the wound is too messy to be certain.
傷口の確認は難しいと。足
Heavy
元は
boots, with one sole far more worn than the other.
なるほど。
This
片足を
man
引
was
きずっ
limping
て
John.
いたということで、やはり
Violent death. This man,
そうです
limping.
ね。九段の男性である可能性が高いですね。はい。じゃあその他の証拠品を見ていきましょう。
A furrow in the ground.
軽く出血
A
してい
blood
る。
trail leading to or from the canal. Someone bled profusely here.
割れた陶器があります
A
ね。
fresh crack, as if the crate was hit recently.
木のカゴが壊れていると。
These events have fractured into so many pieces. But I know you can collect them all, Sherlock.
その他には
Oh, carnelian agate beads, a traditional African
カー
adornment.
ネリアン石のシューズ。そして血痕。
The blood sprayed off the blade after the strike. No hint of blood or impact.
と木があると。
It might have been used as an improvised weapon.
画家の部屋にあった木とは関係ないですかね。どうなんでしょうか。そしてこの男性が
The cut is deep, potentially serious if not treated immediately.
重傷ですね。
He is in shock, feverish and dehydrated.
Sherry, you know first aid. Surely you have a duty to help this man. You can't leave him to certain death.
この負傷した難民を助けようというのが今、ジョンからサブミッション出てきましたね。 ちょっとこれだけ先にやってしまいます。負傷者は、無事回復させることができました。ちょっといろいろ手間だったのでカットしてしまいましたが、引き続き操作をしていきましょうか。
Someone was dragged against their will.
The refugees have been detained and will not leave until all the circumstances are clarified. Back off.
Clearly a left handprint here. You know what? I'd like to understand.
What?
How did our dead man end up inside the camp in the first place?
新しいものが出てきましたね。おそらく今見つかる証拠は、できたんでしょう。野営地に侵入した方法ですけれど、この水路とかちょっと怪しいですよね。怪しいですね。
Sealed shut. I doubt our man could get through these grates.
ここではない。船はありえる。
It's unlikely anyone could get in or out of the camp by water without alerting the police guards.
はしごがありますね。
No, it's too short for these walls or cliffs.
なるほど。短いと。
We have seen some dark places in Cordona, but this.
Murder. Beasts.
ありましたね。マ
A
ル
single
パル
malpalput.
マルパルの吸い殻が。
Roadman cigarettes. A brand highly regarded by law enforcement officers. So there wasn't any sophisticated infiltration plan. The good old police just let the man into the camp. Now we have everything we need to get the full picture of what happened at the camp.
情報が出揃ったということでしょうか。まだなんか残っているものはあるんですけれど、ロケーションを探す。そうですね。そして、この人身売買の件は残っているんですけれど、推理のマークは出てきましたね。
Do you have papers to fill? City Hall lubberheads.
はい、ということで、推理ターンです。結構、今回も難しい苦戦するでしょう。と今から言っておきます。刃物が、でもここで落とすのはおかしいですもんね。そういえば。刃物は落とさないんで、こうの方が自然なのかな。
So we have a thug who came to take a refugee woman with him. She resisted, but he dragged her by force.
今回
One
も
of the
結構
refugees stood in his
手こ
way,
ずりました
armed with
ね
a。stick, yet he could do nothing against a cutthroat with a blade. The man didn't anticipate that the other refugees would intervene and stand against him. In the confusion, the woman managed to break free. The thug took fright and fled. He was stopped by the falling crates. He stumbled and fell, piercing his chest with his own blade. However, the wound didn't cause instant death. He managed to stand, but still bleeding, he lost his balance on the bridge and fell. Before all of this, the man had freely entered the camp through the main entrance. The police admitted him after they had a short smoke together.
You live by the sword, you die by the sword. In our man's case, it's the same sword.
はい。ということで、推理は なんとかうまくいきましたね。じゃあこの件について話してみましょうか。
You still here?
Inspector, I believe I can aid your investigation. I know who the dead man is and what really happened here.
You do? Well, good for you. But I'm afraid I'm not the one you need to share your findings with. Speak to Mr. Harlow here. He's the one responsible for settling things in the camp.
You don't even care to listen?
Oh, I do care. Maybe even more than I need to. But I'm only here today to lock the place up, question witnesses, and file the facts. It's sad, but coming up with conclusions is not among my tasks here. You fellows at City Hall do that. Anyway, speak to the supervisor. I'll just stand by and listen to what you have to say.
はい、じゃあ、ハーローと話をしましょう。
Mr. Harlow, your refugees didn't murder anyone.
What? Pray tell me what you've learned.
All right, listen carefully. This might solve one problem for you, but will create a few more.
Oh, well, that's a great start.
The man came to the camp intending to kidnap one of your refugees, a woman. What he didn't expect was that the refugees would stand up to protect the woman. A brawl had broken out. In the chaos of it, the man stumbled over those crates and fell on his own blade.
How do you know he fell on his own blade?
The wound in his chest was inflicted from an unusual angle. It was not an offensive stab, shall we say. The refugees didn't touch him. And judging by the blood at the scene, the intruder managed to raise himself but was unable to walk very far. He ultimately fell into the canal.
But how did he sneak into the camp? Why didn't the police see him?
And this is where your new problems emerge, Mr. Harlow.
What do you mean?
You're not a dull-witted man. You know what I mean. There is no feasible way to get into the camp without the police guards knowing of it.
The pile of mess I had to sort out has just become bigger, but somehow that doesn't surprise me. Anyway, I thank you for your help, Mr. Holmes. I'll take it from here. Meanwhile, I'll make sure the police aren't detaining the refugees any longer. You can go back in and look for your witness.
You think one small clock can make any difference in this place?
Who knows, John? Just one ill-fitting cog could make the whole machine crumble.
そうですね。話をしましたので、はい。いろいろまだ確認しないといけないことがありますが、この話は何かできるんでしょうか、今。
I owe you a lot, Mr. Holmes.
May I ask for your assistance?
They often take us from the camp to work. Most don't mind, though. It's the only way to get a glimpse of freedom.
難民たちによればいかがわしい人間たちがよく野営地を訪れ、さまざまな仕事をさせるために難民たちを連れていくという。仕事は大抵過酷なものだが、賃金と食料を得ることができると。乱暴された少女は仕事のために連れて行かれたのだろう。それ以来難民たちは女性が連れて行かれることを拒否することにした。
So there's a smuggling ring in the camp. This wasn't the first time that someone freely entered the camp to take a refugee out.
At least it was certainly his last time. My gut tells me that we'll learn more about this ring when we find out where the thug came from.
ということですね。じゃあこの少女について聞き込みをしたいと思うんですけど、まあいい時間なんで、聞き込みは次回、引き続きやっていきたいと思います。ありがとうございました。